And breaking news, acting Customs and Border Protection Commissioner John Sanders is resigning from his post. He made this announcement in a message sent to agency employees just earlier today. The move comes as the the House of Representatives is set to vote on a bill that would provide $4.5 billion in health services and humane alternatives for migrants currently in U.S. detention centers. Now, the move is in response to reports of overcrowding and unsanitary conditions in all of those facilities. However, the White House is now threatening to veto that aid if it passes the Senate. So to discuss further, we're being joined by immigration attorney Alan Orr. Alan, always good of you to join us.
No, happy to be here on this important issue.
Yes. So first, what do you make of Sanders' resignation?
I think it's consistent with everything we're hearing from the Hill that many of the officers do not want to carry out or be involved in such a horrendous, inhumane treatment of children.
Yeah, they don't want it under their watch.
They don't want to be associated with it, right? Because once you sort of have that stain, you can't move on anywhere else. Specifically in that, it wasn't as if the government came to the Hill and said, we have this problem. It was immigration attorneys who were seeing their clients who brought this issue and put the light on it.
Wow, so that's how it came about.
Exactly.
So there are reports of about 100 migrant kids who were transferred from a facility in Texas where they were living in these just abhorrent conditions. Apparently they're headed back. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I think the government's trying to be consistent with the story of saying that it really wasn't a problem, right? So they moved 300 away and they're taking 100 back to sort of say, oh my God, this is the way the government sort of worked the status quo. Because yesterday the concern was, I thought it was a money situation that you could move the people, but then you moved them instantly and now you're putting some of them right back in the same situation. But it's in a less crowded facility, allegedly. But the concerns about soap and toothpaste and diapers are the same.
I mean, diapers, this is something that hits home for me as a new mother.
Exactly.
So I can't even imagine, people that are being detained in a facility that they have no access to help their baby.
I think further than that, it is that they have 10-year-olds taking care of 2-year-olds, which is problematic in any sort of way or situation. In addition to that, we had someone from the House of Representatives from Texas get on television yesterday and say, well, the kids are welcome to leave at any time. So that's the irresponsible response from our Congress.
Wow. So this new bill that they're looking at was seeking to address the conditions there. There have been deaths, there have been measles outbreaks, other sort of health outbreaks there. AOC and other House members, she, though, oddly criticized it, saying they were giving too much money to ICE and CBP for continuing to support a fundamentally cruel and broken immigration system. So what chance do Democrats have of passing this bill, for an even better bill if obviously President Trump's not going to accept this version, but then you don't even have support from Democrats?
Well, it's about what's fundamentally in the writing of the bill. The problem at the very forefront is what I've said to you many times. It's private prisons. So the money is being funneled off of these billion-dollar companies who are saying, allegedly the report came out that it's $750 a day to take care of one child, which is the same rate it is to stay at the Trump Hotel in Washington, D.C. So why is there the amenities that you would get at the Trump Hotel, which is very lavish and very nice, aren't afforded to these same individuals under these private facilities? So what AOC is saying is she doesn't want to fund the beast and continue to fund these billion-dollar companies that make money off of the backs of imprisoning these young immigrant children.
Now, some of the reasons that President Trump is giving for vetoing it, or he plans on vetoing it,
yes,
were the bill didn't provide funding for his wall and other border initiatives because, he says that this is continuing to fund the beast, as you say, is unsustainable. So he wants funding for his wall to just kind of stop it from happening. What do you think about that?
So the wall doesn't address people who are coming here legally and filing for asylum, right? They're still going to file for asylum or that are already here. It doesn't address any of those issues, so that's sort of a waste of the time of sort of having that conversation. More importantly than that, he said, I believe on Sunday or Saturday, depending on which day they run together, he said that he wanted to give Congress 2 weeks to sort of fix the asylum loophole. Well, there are no loopholes. That's the first problem. It is fundamentally what it has always been since the 1950s, and it's based on an international policy. So my concern is, when is the UN, when is the international government going to step in and say, we see these inhumane things happening in the United States, and now it's our time to come in and be part of the larger government and say, look, these are humans, you can't act this way, as we've done around the world so many times in other places.
So the vote comes right after President Trump tweeted, because he always tweets, that he was planning this mass deportation crackdown. He obviously pulled back from that this weekend. Do you think he's using that as leverage to essentially coerce Congress to present a bill that he finds satisfactory?
So my message on that is that it's just toxic stress. He just wants to keep it's all political. He wants to keep the fear up. He wants to keep people scared. The understanding is that he was asking for money to fund the people that were already in these overcrowded facilities. So how is he going to go up and round up 100 people, much less 2,000 people, to put in these other facilities that are already overcrowded with people? So it's not a consistent argument at all. I think it's just for scare tactics. I mean, he's already told people since he took office that he was going to deport people. So quit saying you're going to do it and sort of move in that direction.
Well, I mean, there's still migrant community, or the people that are awaiting their time, or perhaps their time has lapsed, that are in various parts of the country. That are living scared right now because they're afraid that ICE is going to come knock at their door and rip them away from their children, from their families.
From their jobs, from our communities, for whatever they may be doing.
People that have already been here for a while.
And they're mixed families. I think that's super important to say.
Right.
The parents may be undocumented, but the kids are U.S. citizens. So you're going to take the parents from those and make even more orphans in the situation. And most importantly, they're not threats, because if they were threats, you would have gotten them your first year in office. It's just disruption.
All right, so just more noise from the White House. So what are you hoping to see real quickly come of these horrible conditions at the migrant facilities?
Well, I think that's an apolitical thing, right? The way we treat humans, specifically the way we treat children, is about who we are. So hopefully we'll see Congress come together before they leave on Thursday for a week break, and maybe they shouldn't even leave until they actually address the issue, because this is about humanes. And so if it was their kids, and in some cases I think if it were kids of another hue, or maybe they spoke English, that we'd be there a little bit faster than we are today. But this is definitely a crisis that everyone should be concerned on. Everyone should be calling Congress or saying, what can I do to make sure this doesn't happen under my watch?
Yeah, there are commercials for the ASPCA and sad puppies. But what about black and brown children at the border?
Absolutely.
As always, I appreciate your expertise on this. Alan Orr, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.